Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today's video is something you absolutely can't miss because what happened between Rowoon and Park Eun-bin has left the entire fandom in shock. Yes, you heard that right. A single heartfelt confession from Rowoon brought Park Eun-bin to tears, and fans around the world are still talking about it. We're diving deep into the moment, the emotions, and the truth behind this unforgettable scene. So if you love K-drama stars, real-life emotions, and stories that make your heart race, stick around till the end. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our latest updates. It started with a silence, not the kind that feels empty, but the kind that tells you something monumental is about to happen. The stage lights had dimmed, the audience was holding their breath, and Rowoon stood in the center, his eyes searching for Park Eun-bin among the crowd. The moment felt suspended in time, 1,000 camera flashes poised but unmoving, hearts racing in unison. And then he spoke. At first, it was just a whisper, almost drowned by the collective heartbeat of the audience. There's something I've been meaning to say for a long time. The words hung in the air like a fragile thread, and Park Eun-bin, seated only a few feet away, straightened in her chair. She knew this wasn't part of the script. This was real. Rowan's voice grew stronger, each syllable carrying the weight of years unspoken. He talked about how their paths first crossed, how she was already a star in her own right, and he was just beginning to find his place in the spotlight. How in those early days he admired her from afar, not for her fame, but for the quiet grace she carried everywhere she went. He thought you were untouchable, he admitted, eyes glistening under the lights. And maybe you were, but somehow you let me in. The audience erupted in soft gasps, and somewhere in the crowd, a fan stifled a sob. Park Eun-bin's lips curved into a faint, almost imperceptible smile, but her eyes were already shimmering. She knew where this was going, and yet she couldn't stop her heart from pounding. Rowoon continued, speaking not to the audience, not to the cameras, but to her. You were there for me in ways I don't think you even realized. When I doubted myself, you believed in me. When the world felt too heavy, you reminded me of the things that truly mattered. And I don't know if I ever thanked you properly for that. The words weren't polished and they didn't sound rehearsed. They were raw, perfect, and all the more powerful for it. It was as if he had been carrying them in his chest for years, and now they were finally breaking free. Then came the moment no one was prepared for. Eun-bin, he said, his voice steady despite the tremor in his hands. I need you to know that everything I am today, everything I've become, I couldn't have done it without you. A hush fell over the crowd, so deep it felt sacred. Park Eun-bin's hand flew to her mouth, and tears, uninvited but unstoppable, began to slide down her cheeks. She wasn't just hearing words, she was feeling every memory they carried. Late-night phone calls after long filming days, quiet moments in empty hallways between scenes, the unspoken understanding in every glance they shared. Rowoon stepped forward, the distance between them closing with each step. The cameras followed, fans leaning forward as if they could somehow move closer themselves. I don't care what the rumors say or what people think they know. I know my truth. And my truth is that you are the most important person in my life. I will never stop being grateful for you. Never. By now, the sound of muffled crying filled the venue. Some fans clutched their chests, others simply let their tears fall. On social media, the moment was already going viral, with snippets of his words spreading like wildfire. Tweets poured in by the second. Hashtag multiplying like wildfire, hashtag Rowoon confession, hashtag Park Eun-bin tears, hashtag K-drama reality, hashtag Rowoon and Eun-bin, hashtag the moment. Some fans had tears in their eyes just watching the replays, while others were still in shock, trying to process the raw emotion they had witnessed. Backstage, away from the crowd, there was a quieter moment. Rowoon, still a little dazed from the adrenaline, turned to her and asked softly, "Did I say too much?" Park Eun-bin, her eyes still glassy but her lips curved into a smile, shook her head. "No," she said. "You said exactly what needed to be said." It was a rare glimpse into something deeply personal. Over the years, fans had speculated endlessly about the nature of their relationship. Were they just close friends? Was there more? Neither of them ever gave a clear answer. They didn't need to. What happened that night wasn't a confirmation or a denial. It was something else entirely, a public declaration of gratitude, affection, and respect so deep that it blurred the line between reality and the romance their fans had always dreamed of. In the following days, interview requests poured in from every major network. Talk shows wanted them together. Variety shows wanted them apart to get honest answers. Brands saw an opportunity to capitalize on the buzz, but both Rowoon and Park Eun-bin chose to keep the moment sacred. There was no endless media tour, no monetizing of the confession. Instead, they let it live as it was, a piece of genuine human connection in a world where authenticity is rare. For Rowoon, the reaction from fans was overwhelming. Messages flooded his social media from people who said his words gave them the courage to express feelings they had been holding back for years. Some reunited with old fans or reached out to family members. Others confessed love to someone for the first time. "You reminded me that it's never too late," one comment read. "Even if you're scared, even if your voice shakes, you have to say it." For Park Eun-bin, the moment meant something deeply personal too. She had always been admired for her professionalism, her ability to separate work from her private life. But that night, the line blurred, and she didn't regret it. In a later conversation, she admitted, "It's strange that I've always believed some things are best kept private. But when he said those words, I felt proud. Proud of him, proud of us, proud of the journey we've shared, even if the world only sees glimpses of it." Somewhere in Seoul a few nights later, the two were spotted together again. No stage, no audience, just a quiet dinner at a small, dimly lit restaurant. They sat across from each other, laughing, sharing bites of food, completely at ease. To the people who recognized them, it felt surreal, like watching a drama come to life, except this was unscripted, unpredictable, and impossibly real. The truth is, no one knows exactly what the future holds for Rowoon and Park Eun-bin. Maybe their bond will remain a profound friendship. Maybe it's the beginning of something more. But for the millions who watch that confession live or in replay, the label doesn't matter. What matters is that for one unforgettable night, a star stood in front of another star and reminded the world that sincerity still has the power to move people to tears. And weeks later, fans still talk about it as that moment. They replay the trembling in his voice, the glisten in her eyes, the way the entire atmosphere seemed to shift when their gazes locked. Edits continue to circulate, music layered under the footage, captions that read like poetry. It's more than just celebrity news now. It's become part of K-drama folklore, the kind of scene that will be remembered for years, maybe even decades. Because some moments are bigger than a show, bigger than a rumor, bigger than the headlines. They stay with you. They become part of your own story. And for countless fans around the world, Rowoon's heartfelt confession and Park Eun-bin's tearful smile have done exactly that, carving themselves into the collective memory of everyone who believes that honesty, no matter how risky, is always worth it. And somewhere away from the noise, away from the flashing lights, perhaps Rowoon and Park Eun-bin know it too, that no matter what comes next, they've already shared something extraordinary, and no one can take that away.